any of them? And if so, why did they pick the 375? When do we see the others? Why did Lisa Page leave the Mueller team 2 weeks before the FBI knew about the text messages, knew what was contained in these? That's interesting, I think. So there's a host of questions we need to get the answers to. That's what I want to accomplish.
The Clinton Foundation spokesperson came out, Nick Merrill, communications director, came out and said, let's call this what it is, a sham. This is a philanthropy that does life-changing work, which Republicans have tried to turn into a political football thing. He said Republicans are trying to distract from their own troubles by ginning up investigations into old, settled matters.
You know, Laura, I wish there was 1/10 of the intensity to get answers to all the things we have learned in the last 8 weeks relative to Clinton and how the investigation was handled and the Russian issue. 1/10 of the intensity on all of those as there is on the Mueller special counsel investigation from the left, because to date, not one bit of evidence shows the Trump campaign coordinated with Russians to influence the election. But we know, just as sure as you and I are talking, we know today that the Clinton campaign paid the law firm, who paid Fusion, who paid Chris Steele, who paid Russians to do what? Influence the election. And we know that Peter Strzok, the guy who ran the Clinton investigation, interviewed her, interviewed Mills, interviewed Abedin, changed the exoneration letter, had these text messages with Lisa Page where he said we need an insurance policy to make sure that we don't run the risk that Donald Trump gets elected by the American people. So I just wish 1/10 of the intensity they have for Special Counsel Mueller's investigation, 1/10 of that was applied to getting the answers to all the questions that arise from that fact pattern.
Well, Adam Schiff, Congressman Adam Schiff, a lot of people think is leaking information out of those closed-door sessions of the committee. He says that you all are blocking his ability to bring back witnesses like Don Jr. he wants to bring back and others to get to the bottom of, I guess, a potential obstruction
you know what?
Charge against the president, even though a president really can't be charged with
You know what, Laura? I would be happy. They can interview all the witnesses they want, however many times they want, whatever sequence they want, if we would just be able to interview Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, Bruce Orr, his wife Nellie Orr, Jim Baker. Why was Jim Baker, the general counsel of the FBI, reassigned just 2 weeks ago? Why did that happen? I want to know the answer to that. I want to get the documents so I can prepare.
Well, you guys
then
are
I want to depose them. Then
yeah.
I want to depose them, and then I want to bring them on the witness stand under oath, answering questions in front of the American people.
It seems like contempt of Congress the threat of contempt of Congress has started to get some balls rolling over. As I predicted, this Gang of Six bill is a complete and utter joke. Earlier in the week, the president empowered congressional leaders to come up with a bipartisan deal to address the status of those 800,000 or so dreamers that Obama, through executive action, protected from deportation.
And President Trump's signal with regard to this investigation, does it signal an end is near?
No, what it would signal to me is that Mueller is desperate. He doesn't have a case he can make, and so he's going to follow the path of Martha Stewart, Scooter Libby, or Mike Flynn and hope that they can get President Trump to get confused on some date, some fact that they can turn around and prosecute him for perjury. So I would suggest that we remember Martha, we remember Scooter, we remember Mike Flynn, and have the president say, make your best case and bring it. I'm not helping you.
Right. Well, you know, the reason prosecutors like to leave their highest-ranking witness for the end of an investigation is obviously to gather as much evidence as possible to use as ammunition. Here's the thing. As far as we know, there is no evidence of collusion. Thus far. So if Mueller is prepared to talk with his main target right now, what does that mean?
It means he's desperate. And that's what I'm telling you. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a judge. I've been a chief justice. But I've also been court appointed to defend a murder case and a capital murder. And I'm telling you, the best advice the president could get is Mueller has nothing. Don't give him anything. Say, bring your best case. I'm not going to help you. I don't think he should. Mueller is not a friend. He's made that clear. And how ironic, Julie, what we've got here is an administration of Obama with Secretary of State Clinton. They rush over there with a reset button. They want to be Russia's best friend. And the Russians apparently had figured out they're going to try to set up something against Trump. So they feed Steele stuff, knowing that these fools are going to go forward and use the FBI and blow this thing up. It's rather ironic when you look at it in that context. The Russians played the Democrats when the Democrats thought they were playing the Republicans.
Right. It is ironic.
It is.
You know, Christopher Steele being recently called out for falsifying the dossier, and then, of course, that being what ignited this investigation in the first place certainly is going to work in the president's favor. Now the question,
the texts indicate there may have been more leaking than we knew about to begin with. So,
I'm sure there is.
And of course, with Comey leaking, admitting leaking, there's a lot that needs to be pursued there. And Mueller, of course, will never pursue that.
Right. That's where the drip comes from. All right. So the Washington Post, and I want your take on this, reports that the president's attorneys are actually reluctant to let him sit down for an open-ended, face-to-face questioning without clear parameters, they say, according to a source. They've even discussed whether the president, the lawyers, have discussed whether the president could instead provide written answers to some of the questions from Mueller's investigation, as President Reagan did during the Iran-Contra investigation. Is this something Mueller would actually agree to?
I think Mueller is desperate, and since he's got nothing, this is his last-ditch effort to try to trip Trump up. And so if that's the advice that the president's being given, it means he has smart lawyers, and I know he does. I know the lawyers. And so that would be a huge mistake to let Mueller just sit down and have a free-ranging conversation. That's how you end up as Martha Stewart, Scooter Libby, and Mike Flynn did.
Yeah, most responsible lawyers do not want their clients taking the stand in any investigation. And I can't imagine the president's lawyers are any different.
That's how I got a murder client acquitted. And he was not guilty, but you don't take the stand. So, anyway.
All right. Anyway, that's a good way to end it. We'll have to wait and see.
Thanks a lot, Julie.
Congressman Louis Gohmert, thank you very much.